Good morning and welcome to the Shielded Prepper. Today is a beautiful day. You could see those blue skies and it is cold. And in our household, we had an SHTF situation happen last night, and I'm going to tell you about it. And first, two great stories for parents and families. Start thinking we're either going to allow the government to raise our children or we're going to raise our children, and we're going to be coming together as families in a greater percentage in this country in the years to come. And both these stories are talking about that. Let's get into it, shall we? This first story it's out of the Los Angeles Times. And when I first read it, I wasn't sure if I was going to step up and actually talk about this, so I thought I would today. And this isn't to divide us. This is to open our eyes to what's going on. And the name of this story out of the LA Times is the California bill would require student... I feel like the ninja. He says, I can't read all the time. Would require schools to notify parents if their child is transgendered. It would require schools. It's really difficult for me to understand right now. And I have 4 young kids. And if something like that was happening at their school and they didn't tell me, it would completely break my heart for my child. And where does it give the parents an opportunity to stand in? They're afraid of what, there are families that treat them poorly, yet, I would say the majority of families out there would require to know that. New bill would force California school districts to notify parents that their child is gender non-conforming or transgendered, sparking a backlash from the LGBTQ community and different organizations. Why are they so upset? They're trying to parent your children, not us. They're trying to protect your children, not you. This is not right. There has to be a ground here. And we homeschool our children. Many of the reasons is some of the curriculum that our kids are learning. The bill would require school districts to notify parents in writing within 3 days of being of hearing about this. It would give the school a chance to talk about it with administration. How are we going to tell the parents? Which form letter are we going to put out? How can we put support around the parents? All of these things. It takes 3 days. Parents play a critical role in nurturing and supporting children, and they cannot be removed from this equation. And this came from an assembly member out of the Riverside County in California that's basically saying, hey, you can't take parents out of this equation here and just take it on yourselves. Are you asking me to lie? One teacher said. They were fired for telling a parent about the conversations that they had with their child. And this parent was fired. And when the teacher had a chance to ask, basically says, are you asking me to lie to the parents about it? Specifically, yes. It is the law, and it is for the student's privacy, not the person, not the child, not the daughter or the son of. It's for the student's privacy. We have to protect the weak. I have a 7-year-old daughter, and she has an awesome imagination, and she likes the Kung Fu Panda. And she likes to twirl stuff around and like, hi-ya, ha-ha. I mean, they're impressionable, they're young, and they're precious. And they're eternal, and it is our job to raise them up well. Under California's anti-discrimination laws, federal and state laws, a transgender or non-conforming student's identity cannot be shared with parents without the student's permission. Can be shared, yet they're looking to change that. All this to be said, these things are going to continue to increase, and if you have a chance to remove your children from that or make sure you're closely involved, I would really encourage you to do so. We have to protect our kids. They're being exposed to things at a more aggressive rate today than ever before. And like Travis from the Prepared Homestead, if you guys know Travis, he has a great quote he shared a couple of times. We have to let the concrete harden before we can put a heavy load on it. If you build a building, you don't let the concrete harden, and you start putting up the walls and the roof and all that, it's going to collapse. Got to let the concrete harden. Okay, this one's awesome. This was out of the Wall Street Journal. More parents are moving in with adult children at younger ages. This is exactly what's going on. My wife and I are both full-time real estate agents, as some of you know, and we have seen this. We have sold many homes to families that are moving in together. They're pooling their resources. They're tighter right now, and they're seeing these things. 1 in 4 Americans aged 25 to 34 lived with their parents or older relatives in 2021. That's the fastest growing segment in multi-generational households, is children moving back up to the age of 34. Most of the group is adult children moving back home with their parents, and a significant number of older adults are moving in with their millennial children. This is a big deal. Some parents aren't waiting for retirement or urgent healthcare needs to make the shift. They understand that their worlds are being tightened and they're being strangled financially. They had a bunch of pros and cons in different segments that they talked about, and I'm just going to highlight a few. Yet, this was the staggering statistic that nearly 1 in 5 Americans lived in a multi-generational home in 2021. 1 in 5. So think about your immediate family. How many do you know that are teaming up right now? And it's increasing. In 2022, 14% of all home buyers set up a multi-generational home. That was their request from their real estate agent, to be able to have a big garage that they can convert into an apartment for their parents, or they're coming together with their siblings later on in life. And this is up from 11% in 2021. That's a 25% increase in that one line item of real estate transactions as they're coming together. It was a good time to sell, and they're like, let's get something that's set up for us so we can both win together. It's awesome. They identify pooling resources as one of the major drivers, and they're able to help improve their family life and the costs of food and managing a home and cleaning a home and paying for the bills and sharing space, and how that co-op actually really works. And there were some cons where they didn't work out so well, and some of the families that did move in together are making plans to buy another home or sell the home and not to do that. Yet it's happening more and more, and we have to be aware for it. And a great prepping idea for you right now to allow yourself permission to consider: hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, give me a thumbs up right now, yet plan for this. This may impact you and your family, and if you know that that's a possibility, you best start thinking about it right now. Fair enough? Awesome. We prepare, my wife gave me this quote, she says, we prepare for the space in between. The space in between, gold and silver and just starting. I mean, there's that huge gap. We have to prepare for this. Preparedness is so important, and next week, starting Monday, we talked about it yesterday, we're going to be embarking as a group on a pre-spring inventory of all of the preparedness and all of the preps that we've put together. We're going to be doing it as a channel together. So I encourage you today, smile, begin to think about new and innovative ways that you can improve your life and the relationships with your family and your children. The very first command that Jesus made when he entered into his ministry, the very first word out of his mouth was repent. Repent. And we have to think about that as we walk through this. A repentant heart, where's a penthouse? A penthouse is at the top. A repentant heart allows us a chance to shed away all these things that are limiting us back, these bad attitudes, these crappy thoughts, the pressure of the politics and the world economics and all of these things. And go to the Father, ask him to humble your heart, elevate yourself back up to a high standing with him at the top, and begin to move forward with new areas for you and your family to improve. If you've made it to this point in the video, I appreciate it, and share this video with somebody else. I'm going to be back tomorrow. Oh, I didn't share my SHTF situation. Holy crap, we're going to be long today. Okay, 2 is 1 and 1 is none. Remember this quote from yesterday? If you got to that point, my furnace went out last night, and it was 30 degrees. This morning I woke up and it was 51 degrees in the house and super cold. And I was so thankful as I'm freezing, running down the hallway in my t-shirt and my undies, to stock the fire, to get it going. And we got it going, and it took a long time to warm up. And I ran back to the room and I jumped under the covers. And I mean, I was eye-opener. I'm like, man. And I called the HVAC company this morning. They were able to get somebody out today, yet only because they had an opening. If not, it would have been next week. They show up today and find out there's an electrical issue with the fuse, so they have to send an electrician out here that can't be out here until later this afternoon, if they have the parts. So that being said, just know 2 is 1 and 1 is none. Have multiple ways to heat your home, because when it's cold, it's nice to get warm. Hey, I appreciate you guys. I'm going to say I love you. I've been really enjoying it. I almost just came out because we speak that in our home. Be prepared, smile, 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 and encourage somebody today. Talk to you guys later.